It's time for Physician Family Finances, the show where physician moms and dads like you can get the answers and encouragement you need to turn a good earned income into great life outcomes for tomorrow and today.
Hello, physician moms and dads. I am Nate Reineke, certified financial planner and primary advisor.
And I'm Chelsea Jones, also a certified financial planner and primary advisor here at Physician Family Financial Advisors.
Chelsea, we have, I hope it's our favorite episode ever. I don't know why, but psychiatrists love us and we love them. Don't know what it is.
Damn.
But we have an all psychiatrist question episode. So we even had a psychiatrist, I think, last episode, and we had to contain ourselves. I'm like, we could do a 5-question episode here with all psychiatrists.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah. So here we go. We didn't do it on purpose. It's just what we collected.
Physician Family Psychiatrist.
Yeah.
Questions coming for you. Okay. So the first question up is from a psychiatrist in Maine.
Mm-hmm.
They said, if my kids are likely to have much of their college covered through scholarships and unused GI Bill benefits, how should that change the way I approach college savings?
Yeah. So this was a really unique question, and it tends to be that as people get closer and closer to college, it just becomes more and more unique. The more kids you have, the more, their different goals. When your children are like 1, 3, and 5, it's just all the same. They're all going to private college, and that's what we're saving for. But as you get closer and closer, it's like, well, this child, they're really good at the sport, or they're really good at this activity. I think they got great test scores. I think they actually are going to get some merit-based scholarships. And so you have to consider these things. For this psychiatrist in Maine, they were in the military, they have the GI Bill, and they had some really good reasons that I won't get into for why they are probably going to get a lot more school paid for. So the question is, do I just assume I'm going to get all these goodies, or do I prepare for worst case scenario? And, I have a tendency to prepare for worst case scenario. So I get where this question is from, but a lot of times when people prepare for worst case scenario, they're not maximizing anything in their life. They're sort of just, preparing for the worst, and it usually doesn't end up being the worst. And even if you aren't fully prepared for college, as a psychiatrist or a physician family, you're going to have some money when your kids are going off to college. You could pay for it. So what do you do? This is an honest college question, rather than like, I'm pissed because every college just costs too much. This is a truly, they have scholarships in the hopper. And the answer is to create what I call a floor plan, not the floor plan like at your house, but the minimum plan. Okay, what's the floor here? What is, if none of this worked out, the GI Bill is going to work out. But if none of these other scholarships work out, what is the minimum I would need to have saved, and then save for that? It's going to end up being too much because one of these scholarships is going to work out, but at least you have the minimum. You don't need to oversave. You don't need to assume the GI Bill's going out the window and nothing's going to work out, but you save enough to where college is definitely going to be covered, or the minimum college will be covered. So I'll give you an example. Let's say you save for the minimum to where if none of these scholarships worked out, you at least had enough money for public school. But in reality, you're hoping for private school. And so the scholarships plus some public school money will get them to private school. But the worst case is those don't work out and they're going to public. At least you're doing your best to have some money in a 529 if you start moving toward the worst case scenario. And then you have all the tax savings. You feel like, I'm riding the fence here. I'm not necessarily getting, putting too much in 529s or not enough. I'm just doing just enough. And if they do get those scholarships, you can reimburse yourself the money back out of the 529 without penalties. So you won't pay penalties, and you're not going to be set back too much. And then you can kind of move on and use your other money for more important goals, because this one is mostly covered. So it
Yeah.
shouldn't be the thing you're thinking about all the time.
Yeah. And one thing about psychiatrists is they're going to keep working.
Oh yeah.
So most likely, I don't know everything about their situation, but psychiatrists work a long time. Most likely, they're still going to be earning while their kids are in college,
Hmm.
and so they may have the earned income to just fill any gap too.
Yeah. I
That's not
have
covered by
met
the 529.
yeah, I've met a few psychiatrists that talk about maybe not working, you know, forever, but most it's like a fine wine. They just get better with age, and they're
Mm-hmm.
70 years old, and they're thinking, why would I ever stop this? Like, this is great.
Yeah.
So it's definitely not like, you know, being in emergency medicine where it's like you can only handle so much for so many years. It's hard on your body. This is not. So I don't know this person either. This is a listener. But the psychiatrists that we know, I think they'll be okay. And that's even more of a nod to, hey, if you're slightly underfunded, it's not the end of the world. And if you're behind on retirement, or this person had a really big goal of paying off their house. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
exactly why that was such a big goal for them, but it was a really big milestone they wanted to achieve. And they just thought, hey, if I can save a little bit less for college, I'll be able to do that. I think that's a good idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Very good. Next question. Psychiatrist, surprise, in West Virginia. They said when I did my estate planning, the service that I used suggested that I put an age restriction on distributions. I need some more education on why I would need to divvy it up when I assume our children would need access to the funds for support as young adults even prior to the age of 25. So, some context here, age restrictions. This is basically so they set up a revocable trust. And in the way that they originally set it up, once their child turned 18, they would have unrestricted access. And she's saying, well, even an 18-year-old needs some support. Why would I put age restrictions on it? There's one thing that you would want to keep in mind here is that even if there's an age restriction, that doesn't mean that they don't get any money out of the trust. There's almost always what's called a HIMSS distribution allowance. So that stands for health, education, maintenance, and support. So all of that's going to be covered, even if they don't get everything at 18. So yeah, this age restriction is basically usually the goal is to save kids from themselves,
Yeah.
and being irresponsible with this money. That's why you would put an age restriction on a trust. Usually
Yeah.
it's like they get a chunk at 25, 35, 45. You can you can put the ages at whatever you think is appropriate.
And it's going to be different for each child.
Mm-hmm.
I have a child right now who is 7, and he spends every dollar the second he gets it. And then I have
Mm-hmm.
a child right now who's 5, and he doesn't know what he's saving for, but he just knows he wants to get to 3 digits.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's because the 5-year-old can't think of what to spend their money on, but if they keep going down this path, there's going to be tighter restriction on the kid that spends too much money.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to let him learn from his lessons, but somehow, I'm trying to let him spend it and then
Mm-hmm.
run out before he wants the next thing, so he learns.
Yeah.
We don't have the option to teach our children all these lessons before, if the worst case happens and you were to pass and your child doesn't know how to handle money and they're
Mm-hmm.
16 and they get, I mean, easily they could get 7 figures.
Yeah.
They could get $1 million. Think about you at 17 with no parents. How, $1 million, maybe they wouldn't spend it all, but they certainly are going to go waste a ton of it. And
Mm-hmm.
so, that's all this is. It's just protecting them from themselves. You think about with estate planning, you think about what you want in life. Just think about it, dream it up. Go tell your attorney what you want, and then they will put it in the plan. So I want my child to be
Mm-hmm.
taken care of until they're out of college. And then after that, they get all the money. If that's what you want, it can be written into the plan. And all this,
Mm-hmm.
these estate planning attorneys or the software that you're filling out, all they're asking you is, hey, consider this before 25 years old. Kids aren't really all that responsible. So,
Mhm.
most nowadays, people aren't buying houses at 25 or before 25, right? Because they're in college, or so they don't really need access to all the money.
Mhm.
They probably need access to, like, you know, a few $1,000s a month.
Yeah,
So that's all it's asking for.
exactly. Something to consider. Um, excuse me. The next question's from a psychiatrist in Kentucky. They said, when it comes to life insurance, my husband and I both have several policies with different terms. If I want my parents to get the payout from one of the policies, with my husband still being contingent, what is the easiest way to do that? Do I change the beneficiary on the policy? Should we change the beneficiary to the trust and then have instructions to put the life insurance money in there? Like, how do we go about this? And this is a great question. Again, my answer is going to have to be very high level because I'm not an estate planning attorney. But at a high level, the reason you would use a trust is to have some control over how the money is spent once you pass.
Mm-hmm.
And so, if I don't know, if for whatever reason you want to give your parents specific instructions on how to use the life insurance proceeds, then consider intertwining that into your trust with the help of your attorney. But if that's not something that you're really worried about, then just updating the beneficiary on the policy will get the job done. Because life insurance proceeds, they don't go through probate. And so putting it into the trust is not going to avoid probate because that doesn't apply to life insurance proceeds anyway. And
Mm-hmm.
so, yeah, the only reason you would want to do that is to, again, kind of like we talked about in the last question, save the beneficiary from themselves. But if you're leaving it to your parents, they probably have got good heads on their shoulders and can
Mm-hmm.
handle the payout. So
Yeah.
leave it to them
It's
straight out.
it's also, I don't this is I think this is probably there might maybe some good reason for this, but I want to take a step back and explain what life insurance is for,
Mm-hmm.
because I don't know why you would put your parents on a life insurance
Right.
policy. Um, Life insurance at its core you would buy life insurance to replace an income, or buy life insurance to replace, let's say you had a spouse that wasn't working, or they didn't work outside the home, and it would cost a lot of money to replace them. So stay-at-home parent who watches the kids, and like that would be probably $100,000 a year to replace them.
Yeah, to hire a nanny and,
Someone to
you
help
know,
cook and clean,
yeah.
and I mean that's a lot of money. So maybe
Mm-hmm.
something like that. But let's just, aside from that, it is to replace an income, because what you do with that income is you pay the bills, you also save for college, you save for retirement, you do all these things, you're paying down the mortgage. So when you get life insurance, you want to buy it so it can clear all your debts, so that it can fund your goals, and so that it can pay the bills until you get to the point where everybody's retired or everybody's off to
Mm-hmm.
school. And so, unless this psychiatrist in Kentucky is paying their parents' bills, I don't see a big reason to buy life insurance for them, because you're not supporting them now. Why do they need money if you were to die? Now,
Mm-hmm.
if they are paying their parents' bills, this is obviously, you need this. But even then, it seems to be, there's a good chance that this is getting overcomplicated, because you don't need like a 30-year policy, depending on age of your
Mm-hmm.
parents and all that. So I just, sometimes these kinds of things can get overcomplicated for no reason. You need a healthy amount of life insurance that allows you to fund your goals, pay off your debts, and pay for the things that your income was paying for before, while you were living. That's what you need this for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
But hey, the psychiatrists, they're thinkers.
they are. Yeah, because I thought about this too. I was like, well, they could be paying their parents a personal loan back.
Yeah. Oh,
'Cause-
that's very possible.
yeah, because they
And
didn't.
maybe they lent them money for business or school or something, and they want to pay them back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So there are reasons that you would want to possibly leave money to your parents, like we've talked about, but usually leaving it to your spouse will get the job done with what you want to do.
Yeah, especially since your spouse shares your same goals. It's your money, it's your goals, and your spouse probably shares them.
Okay, last questions from a psychiatrist in California. They said, I just finished up my residency and I'm going to work for Kaiser. They gave me a $225,000 signing bonus, but really it's a 7-year forgivable loan. What should I do with this money?
I got this call yesterday, and I was kind of blown away by the numbers that I heard. The 225 was big, but the 7 number was the bigger one. When I first started with working with physicians, this number was 3.
I know, I was thinking like 2 or 3.
Yeah, it's 2 or 3 year forgivable loan. It was never 225. It was like, we'll give you $50,000 today, and it's in 3 years, it's all forgiven. Every year, 1/3 is forgiven. And it wasn't at the end of the world to like go spend the money because it's 3 years. And then that's what I thought in the beginning. Then I realized physicians change out of their first job like it's a sweaty t-shirt, like they can't get it off fast enough. And many times. And so 7 years, I thought, oh my gosh, that's an eternity for your first job. Nobody stays in their first job for 7 years. And so I asked this, fresh physician, I asked them, like, are they forgiving it a little bit every year? And they said they forgive some in the 5th and some in the 7th. I thought, this is insane.
Talk about golden handcuffs.
That's what I said. I mean, we haven't even talked about Kaiser in so long, but it still is the golden handcuffs, and the cuffs get heavier, apparently.
Yeah.
So, this young physician who really didn't know a lot about personal finance, they were smart, and they said, I don't really think I want to spend any of this. I don't know what to do with it. I said, I asked about interest rate and all that. The best thing I think that they can do is stick this in a high yield savings account or buy a 7-year CD or something to where essentially, because there's interest on this loan.
Yeah.
And so they're charging them. I almost wanted to say, give it back.
Out of this. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I mean, honestly, I did not see a world where this 31-year-old physician was going to stay at Kaiser for 7 years. So the answer here is, even if it is 3 years, maybe it's a different deal. Maybe it depends on which Kaiser. But what I've seen give people the most peace year after year is they take this money and they don't even consider spending it. They put it somewhere else. They put it in a savings account, let the interest accumulate. And if they want to leave, they have the money to write a check. And the amount of checks that I have seen written is remarkable. Because if you think about it, in the world of a physician, you can go to a different job and easily make another $100,000 a year. I mean, I've seen physicians go and make $100,000 less or $100,000 more like it's nothing. Right? It is something to them, but the range of pay, because a lot of physicians are very ready to move to a different state. So imagine this person just found out a way to get a job that paid an extra $50,000 a year over 7 years.
Yeah.
I mean, they've just easily, I'm going to go to a different job and I want to be able to pay you back. So don't fall into the trap. Set this money aside. Be ready to walk away. Give yourself flexibility. And if you do stay for 7 years, good on you. You got $250,000 waiting for you.
Yeah. Which this truly is a trap. I had a client who got it was like a $50,000 sign-on bonus that was a forgivable loan. But whenever it was paid out to them, taxes were withheld. So they didn't get $50,000. They got 35, 40, whatever it was. They ended up moving jobs within a year, had to pay all that back. But guess how much they owed? $50,000. They couldn't take their money back from the government and say, "Hey,
they withheld the taxes." That's interesting, huh?
I think it was a requirement with that employer, which
that's weird.
It had payroll issues with this employer, so wasn't
usually
a surprise that it got screwed up. But.
So you certainly owe the tax, but usually you owe it as it's forgiven. So that's odd that they did that. But people make mistakes.
Yep. Be
Yeah,
careful.
it's a trap.
It is.
Okay.
They're trying to keep you around, but
They need you and they want you, and that should tell you something. You can go get a different job for more money, I'm sure. But Kaiser's
right.
got great benefits. It's not all bad. This is a retention tool.
Mhm.
They want to keep you. That's what this is. So just be careful. Keep your flexibility. Okay. Thank you everyone for listening. If you liked this episode, please subscribe and leave us a rating. And if you'd like to work with us, you can go to physicianfamily.com, schedule an interview. If you're not ready for that, you can send us a question at podcast@physicianfamily.com. We will answer every question, even if it doesn't make it to the podcast. Until next time, remember, you're not just making a living, you're making a life.
Are you ready to turn worries about taxes and investing into all the money you need for college and retirement? It's time to make a plan and get on track. To find out if we're a match, visit physicianfamily.com and click Get Started. Or you can ask a question of your own by emailing podcast@physicianfamily.com. See marketing disclosures at physicianfamily.com/disclosures.